Ladies and gentlemen and ladies, we're going to change some viewing of this. That's Bobby Womack. Now, there's a lot of stuff going on about Bobby and what Bobby did, but if you learn the whole story, you'll actually have respect for Bobby. I can't speak on Bobby or what Bobby did because Bobby did what Bobby did. But let me tell you something. This is called Harry Hippie. This song Bobby did regarding his brother. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you don't know about Harry Hippie, Bobby gonna tell y'all, but he ain't gonna tell y'all during this video because you know what he thinks he's got it made. Now you know what else he does. But what he might do? Free press. I like to help a who? Ladies and gentlemen, that's Bobby. But Bobby, tell him what you can do. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna get rid of that because y'all need to understand we got some talking to do. Come on now, get off my screen so I can go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you all need to take this information that we're about to discuss and you're going to have to take it with a grain of salt. I have to be very cautious in the information that I'm about to give. This will probably be one of the most watched videos on the channel in the past 4 years. We're going to talk about the 1099 OID. Not going to go in depth about it. We're going to give you an understanding. You're going to have to do your research. I'm going to put under this video an understanding in the details. That's going to go into more details of how we came to the conclusion. You must understand, in 2012, the federal government went after groups of individuals who did OIDs, prosecuted them, sent some of them to jail. I told everybody it's because they didn't calculate the interest. Because OID has to deal with interest. Not always. Not always. When you read the description, you'll see the question presented. You'll see the answer presented, and you'll see the math being done. Okay? However, you're going to have to pay attention to the instructions in there because it says that you will never do it for the full amount, ever. You'll do it for the original amount only because that's what you're entitled to. You always act in good faith. Always. If you don't have the tax credits, pay attention. If you don't have the tax credits to cover the OID, then you can't do this. Not going to go over tax credits today. Not going to go over that. How to acquire them and all that. Did too many videos already. Want y'all to understand. Many of y'all are not going to understand, and that's okay. Hey, this is not a get rich quick thing. This is explaining something to you that and all of you so-called individuals who did this before and you didn't have this understanding, it is your fault. I know you couldn't have contacted me for a consult because I wouldn't have revealed this information, wouldn't have given it to you. Okay? Now, they going to come talk to me. But Casey and JoJo told me they got my back. Okay? For life. Okay? So, let me go ahead and explain something to you. It's 12 o'clock. I got home today. This is a very rough day. I went to a dealership. Pay attention. To purchase a vehicle. I was going to purchase the XC90. It was a 2018. It wasn't brand new, but I liked the vehicle. Did a test drive and all that stuff. And I'm paying for the vehicle in full. No joke. I'm paying for the vehicle in full. I told the guy before I got there, I said, look, I don't want the normal sales routine thing. Do not do that with me. I don't have time for that. And he promised me he wouldn't do it, and he didn't do it. The salesman, respectful, did not do it, not one time. He kept me engaged, which was his job, but it was the sales manager who played games with me. Now I'm in a affluent area because I live in an affluent area. The nearest city is an affluent area, and I go in there, and I do jeans. I don't do suits anymore. I refuse. Jeans and a t-shirt. That's my style. And I go in there, got my tablet and everything, and I'm sitting there and we having a talk. And the first vehicle was for 24,000. It was a Kia. What was the Kia? The Santa Fe. Nice car, but it didn't have what I needed. The engine was a 4-cylinder. Not enough because we have mud, dirt roads, so I need something that can handle that. And so the Volvo could handle that. Sunroof, everything, I'm comfortable. I just didn't like the feel of the seats. The seats were very uncomfortable to me. I'm very sensitive when it comes to that. But other than that, I like the vehicle. I think it could have had more. But I want you to all to understand something. The sales manager, did everything in his power to not sell me that vehicle. Everything in his power to not sell me that vehicle. And I do want to go after him, and I do want to make sure he understands who he was messing with. But I decided to, for the time being, let it go. You see, what I noticed about the vehicle, they had the Carfax. The Carfax showed a couple of things. It showed that the brakes for the vehicle had been shaved about after 20,000 miles, that a couple of the rotors had been shaved. Well, they're recommended to be replaced every 20,000 miles. Ladies and gentlemen, there was 69,000 miles on this vehicle. It's rated to go to 200,000 miles, but oh well. So I said to myself, all right, bring that to their attention. So I told them, I said, that means that I'm going to have to replace rotors. So I'm going to need, and this vehicle tends to have some transmission issues, so I'm going to need full coverage of the vehicle. So they wanted to charge an extra $5,000. Well, originally it was $4,900, then they brought it to $5,500. And I said, look, I'm not concerned about that, as long as the coverage is bumper to bumper for 4 years. I'm willing to live with that. So the price went from $31,000 to $36,000. They wanted to finance it. I said, I'll let you finance it only for 6 months. Just to improve the credit, I'll let you finance it for 6 months. I'll pay the interest. They came back with from $30,000 to $40,000. Told them, nope, that's too much. The vehicle itself is not worth $40,000. And even with the extended warranty, no, that's too much. So finally, after they tried to go back and forth, I said, I don't want to do the back and forth thing. I'm here to get a vehicle. I'm not here to sit up here and haggle. I've already done Blue Book. You're charging the highest price for Blue Book, so enough of that. So I go back out to the vehicle. I said, I need to show you something. So we go back out to the vehicle, and I show them. And those of you who don't know anything about purchasing vehicles, I'm going to tell you something so that you understand. You walk up to the driver's door or the passenger door. Well, technically, you're going to walk up to both doors. You're going to look at where the door and the frame for the front fender comes together. If you see an abnormal gap there, too close, too far away, and you look at the other lining along how they come together with the car, if it doesn't match up, if it is not smooth when you run your hand from one panel to the next, just rub your hand over. If you see that it catches or hinges on your hand, then what you need to understand is that vehicle has been repaired, has been in an accident. So I say, you see that right there? That's not even. You see how this gap is wider than that gap? Let's go over to the other side. You see how that other side was wider than this? Okay, this vehicle has been in an accident before. I said, you can tell that. I said, I learned that when I was 19 years old. My mechanic taught me that. Then I said, well, and at the very end, I said, oh, take a look right here. You see this panel right here? You see how it doesn't match completely? It's not completely flush. I said, this vehicle has been repaired. This vehicle has had a front end damage. And they didn't report it to the insurance company. They had it fixed without the insurance company getting involved. They only wanted to take $1,000 off the vehicle. I said, you know what? I'm okay with that. Why? Because I was going to write the stupid vehicle off. I didn't care about that. I would have gotten the stupid monies back. So I wasn't concerned about that. I gave them a price. I said $34,200 final price, which is almost $5,000 more than what they were asking for, because they brought the price down to $30,000, so $34,200. Ladies and gentlemen, they kept raising the price. You know how normally they would come down? They purposely kept raising the price, and I had to run their game. I purposely kept accepting their raise. Then I finally said, enough. $34,200. That's it. Pay for it right now, today. And they said no. And I told them goodbye. See, I told them that, that I don't play games. And I left. They would have had the monies. All right. That experience right there let me know that it has nothing to do with individuals wanting money and getting a sale. They did not want to sell it to a person of color. Now, it wasn't the salesman who I was speaking to, because he did mention while we were in conversation before the sales manager. The sales manager never came and talked to me, never showed me any sign of respect. So I care less about that idiot. But the salesman who I spoke to treated me with respect from day one. He even mentioned that he had several friends of color. Now, he didn't do that to make me feel at ease. He did that to let me know that he could relate, because he sees how individuals of color are treated. He actually had that conversation with me. He apologized. He apologized at the way I was being treated. Go through this every day. He says to me, I tell my friends it's real. What people of color go through, I tell my friends it's real because I get to see it. I said, I know people think that it's just us crying wolf. There is no wolf with racism, people. People are just prejudiced. Just stupid people are stupidly prejudiced. All right, let's get into the OID. That's what you people are here for. Ladies and gentlemen, what is OID? Original issuer's discount. Most people understand the original issuer's discount is on a security, on a bond. Ladies and gentlemen, original issuer's discount also applies to notes, not just bonds. Each one of you, when you buy a house, a car, do a student loan, you're signing a promissory note. Don't worry about it. As long as you do, I promise to pay, and it goes to a banking institution. That's known as a local Federal Reserve Bank. You want to focus on the Federal Reserve Act, Section 13 and 16. Specifically, Section 16, paragraphs 1 and 2. That's what you're focusing on. Don't worry about nothing else. Don't worry about no IRC code. Don't worry about none of that junk. Focus on the Federal Reserve Act, because that's all this is about. When you sign that promissory note and you give it to the local Federal Reserve agent, you pay 10%. You give a down payment in most cases. I want you to pay attention to what I said. In most cases, if you give a down payment, the value of that note has just increased, pay attention, by 10%. So if I get $100,000 home, they're going to make me pay $10,000 down for a down payment. Even, pay attention, even if they waive the down payment, they're still receiving the extra $10,000, because they're going to document that they waived it, and they're going to get credit for it. So they get $110,000 back from the Federal Reserve, because the Federal Reserve is going to take that promissory note, and in exchange for that promissory note, they're going to purchase it. They're purchasing the promissory note, and they're giving the bank, for the purchase of that promissory note, pay attention, Federal Reserve notes in exchange for the promissory note. Hold on now. But you're not getting it. How are they purchasing the note? because that's why they're giving the Federal Reserve notes. They didn't put any money into this. The Federal Reserve Bank Board of Governors did not put anything into it. They are taking your promissory note because there's a process known as discounting. They're discounting that promissory note, giving the bank a payment for it. The bank is selling the promissory note to the Federal Reserve. If you don't believe me, go back and read the statute. The Federal Reserve Board of Governors now takes your note that they just purchased. They become the holder in due course. Technically, there are two holders in due course. We'll talk about that in a minute. And they now take that note and they give it to the Treasury. At the exact same time, the bank takes a copy of your stupid note and they convert it to a mortgage-backed security. Remember, it's no longer a promissory note. Now it's a mortgage-backed security. And they pool it with other notes and they trade it on the secondary market. So the value of your original promissory note has just not doubled, tripled. The original value, the value on the first sale to the Federal Reserve, and the value on the sale to the secondary market. Your original promissory note just tripled in value. If your original promissory note just tripled in value as a result of that process right there, hold on, there's now a quadrupling because the Federal Reserve now takes that promissory note and sells it to the Treasury. And the Treasury converts it into a bond. That's our monetary system, ladies and gentlemen. So if all of this conversion is going on, and it is conversion, if everybody's converting your promissory note, then that means the value of that promissory note is increasing exponentially. You don't want the 4 times value. You don't want the 2 times value. You just want the original value. Original issuer's discount. You see, you are the issuer of the promissory note, not the Federal Reserve, not the local bank. You are the original issuer of the note. You are the original, you are the holder in due course. Why? Because they still, pay attention, have you obligated to pay that stupid note. They still say you owe money when you don't owe a dime because they have just made all of their money back and then some. Everybody gets paid. The Treasury claims that they're out of money. No, they don't, because they get to trade it on the market as well. So they get paid back. Feel me? Follow me? Understand. Don't worry about it. Nobody else has ever explained this to anybody like this. Nobody else has ever done the math with anyone. Nobody's ever done a step ladder. So now you have to calculate the OID. Well, how do you do that? Well, remember, you get a percentage. OID is only a percentage. Since that note has increased by at least 3 times its value. At least 3 times its value. Let's say the original interest, let's just guesstimate, is 10%. So what is 10%? Pay attention so that you guys get it. If it was $100,000 plus the $10,000, that's $110,000. Multiply $110,000 by, pay attention, 3. That gives us $330,000. 10% of $330,000 is $33,000. Okay? 10%, $33,000. Now hold on. I said at least 10%. But that's not compound interest. Uh-oh. You mean to tell me we get to compound the interest? Where's the law that says that you can't? You're going to have to do the research. Albert Einstein said compound interest. Whew, 8th wonder of the world. Compound interest is a I'm sorry. Ladies and gentlemen, y'all are going to need to understand that some of you guys got some calculation and some math to do. Now, you got to understand, you have to do this in good faith. You must have the tax credits to back it up, and you must do the math. You must have documentation. You must show how you came to these conclusions. And then you challenge them on each one of these processes of your promissory note. Every step of the way, call witnesses. This is not a game under any circumstances, but you need to understand how money works in the United States. Everybody keeps talking about modern money mechanics. You don't need all of that junk. What you need to do is understand everybody got paid. You're dealing with mortgages and you're dealing with somebody trying to evict you out of your home. Remember, they get paid, every single one of them, and they're trading it on the market, which means they're making a profit. How come that's not calculated? If you're being foreclosed upon, make them bring forth the finances. You're trading this on the market. Don't just show me that little stupid statement of accounting. Show me the monies you've made from trading this on the market. Is this mortgage being pooled in service? Okay, now show me the income. What are you talking about? Show me the income. If you've been making money on this note, that means that you need to offset the debt. And you ain't been doing it because I ain't been getting paid. But none of you guys are doing this. Some of you are going to realize the value of this information here. I would like to keep talking, but there's no need for me to keep talking. Everything is going to be in the description. Read the description, understand the description, study the description. Now look, I'm only trying to put this information out here generally. Some of you guys are going to have to do the in-depth research. Now, I will invite you, if you come up with something unique and explaining anything that I've just said, by all means, you can shoot an email. But don't all of you just don't be sending me no email asking no questions. I'm not here for you to bounce ideas off of. I am not here for you to bounce ideas off of because you would waste my time. If you had this knowledge, you would be telling it to everybody else. If you didn't have this knowledge yesterday, then that means that you're not the person I need to communicate with. Do you understand? You would be wasting my time. If you had this knowledge yesterday and you understood it and you had proof, then you can come and mention, hey, have you thought of this? Hey, take a look at this, all of that. But don't come at me if you don't know anything about anything. I am not here for you to bounce things off of. I'm not here for you to do research with. Go do your own research. Go do your own homework before you do any of this. All right, gotta go. Y'all have a good day, okay? All right, hey, Like a bottle of water, ladies and gentlemen. Here is just a floating around. Hey, singing what song? You know what the song is, y'all? Na 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 na. That's the song, y'all.